Amani, a beautiful young girl in a village called Kutu, begins having recurring dreams about a mystical underworld beneath the village river. She feels compelled to uncover the meaning behind them. Amani confides in her friend, Juma, who is skeptical but agrees to accompany her on a midnight trip to the river to see if there's any truth behind her dreams. As they make their way to the river, Amani and Juma encounter strange omens, a mysterious owl, cold wind, and eerie silence that hint at a connection between the river and the spirit world. Standing by the river's edge, Amani feels an inexplicable pull toward the water. She tries to resist, but a spirit mermaid appears and lures her in. Amani is dragged beneath the water and into an ethereal world where she sees strange creatures and beautiful underwater landscapes. She tries to call out for Juma but receives no response. After escaping the spirit's hold, Amani surfaces, but Juma is nowhere to be found. She is overcome with guilt and dread, wondering if he was lost forever. Amani finds herself back on the riverbank, disoriented and alone. She returns home in a daze, haunted by the loss of Juma and plagued by visions of the underworld. The villagers notice Amani's strange behavior, and rumors begin to spread about her midnight visit to the river. Elders warn her of ancient legends about the river's underworld. Desperate to understand what happened to Juma, Amani consults her grandmother, who knows more about the river's connection to the spirit world than she initially lets on. Amani's grandmother shares an ancient story about a spirit mermaid who guards the river's underworld and punishes those who trespass. Amani realizes her dream was more than just a vision. Unable to move on, Amani becomes obsessed with the idea of rescuing Juma, believing he is still trapped in the underworld. Amani meets an old healer who claims to know how to communicate with the spirit world. She begins learning about rituals and symbols tied to the river spirits. Ignoring warnings from the village elders, Amani performs a ceremony by the river, hoping to make contact with the spirit mermaid and learn about Juma's fate. The spirit mermaid appears again, this time angry. She warns Amani to abandon her search or face dire consequences. Amani, however, remains undeterred. Amani continues exploring the riverbank, where she encounters other mystical creatures and spirits who hint at Juma's whereabouts but refuse to reveal more. Amani starts having visions of Juma in the underworld. He seems to be calling out to her, and she becomes convinced she must return to the river. The villagers confront Amani, fearing her actions are attracting unwanted spirits. Her family, worried, tries to stop her, but Amani remains resolute. Despite the village's protests, Amani returns to the river, performing another ritual and preparing herself for whatever lies beneath the surface. Amani dives into the river and finds herself back in the mystical underworld, prepared to face its dangers in her search for Juma. Navigating the underworld, Amani encounters friendly spirits who offer her clues about Juma's location and the challenges she must overcome to find him. Amani faces a series of trials testing her bravery, beginning with the cavern of shadows that embodies her deepest fears. She must conquer them to move forward. She enters a corridor where she must maintain complete silence to avoid awakening sleeping spirits that guard the path to Juma. Another spirit mermaid appears, pleading with Amani to return to the surface and abandon her quest, hinting that Juma may not wish to be found. Amani is given a choice: she can return home now or continue, knowing each step brings her closer to danger. She chooses to move forward, despite the risks. The spirit of memory forces Amani to relive painful memories, including the night she lost Juma. Amani emerges stronger, determined to find him. Amani enters a dark abyss where time seems to slow down. She sees visions of Juma and feels his presence, but he remains just out of reach. She crosses a narrow bridge guarded by spirits of lost souls. They warn her that those who cross rarely return, but she presses on. Amani drinks from a pool that reveals hidden truths. She learns that the underworld is filled with souls who have made sacrifices for love, just like she has. Amani finally hears Juma's voice clearly, calling her toward a cave. She senses she is close and hurries forward, undeterred by the challenges. The spirit mermaid appears one last time, warning Amani that rescuing Juma will come at a great cost. Amani remains resolute, ready to face whatever lies ahead. Amani enters a cavern filled with the spirits of past villagers who warn her of a curse that binds Juma to the underworld. Amani learns that Juma was chosen as a guardian of the river and that returning him to the surface will disrupt the balance between the human world and the spirit realm. Amani struggles with doubt, wondering if bringing Juma back is the right thing. But her love and loyalty compel her to continue. Juma appears to Amani in a vision, showing her a life they could have together. She realizes that she cannot leave him behind. A spirit tells Amani that she must give something up to free Juma. She prepares herself for whatever sacrifice is required. Amani strikes a deal with the spirit mermaid, offering her memories in exchange for Juma's freedom. The spirit mermaid warns Amani that she will forget Juma if he is freed. Amani is willing to pay the price, hoping that her sacrifice will set him free. As the memories begin to fade, Amani says a final goodbye to Juma. He tells her he will always be grateful for her courage and love. Amani emerges from the river, her memories of Juma slipping away. She feels an empty space in her heart but doesn't remember why. The villagers are relieved to see her return but notice the blank look in her eyes. Amani feels she has lost something precious, even though she can't recall what it is. Amani struggles to readjust to life in the village, haunted by a lingering sadness. Her family worries about her, but she cannot explain what she feels. She tries to move on, focusing on her studies and reconnecting with old friends, yet she feels a constant void. Amani begins dreaming of the river again, with fleeting images of a familiar face she can't quite place. She is drawn back to the riverbank, sensing a connection she doesn't understand. Small objects that remind her of Juma begin to appear in her life. She feels a strange, inexplicable bond with these items. She meets someone new, a boy who reminds her of Juma in subtle ways. They become friends, and Amani starts to feel alive again. A spirit appears to Amani in a dream, telling her that her sacrifice has brought peace to the river and the village. She awakens with a sense of purpose. Amani uses her newfound wisdom to help the village understand the balance between the human and spirit worlds. The villagers begin to see her as a healer. Amani accepts that she may never regain her memories, but she finds peace in knowing that her actions have protected her village. She makes one last visit to the river, laying flowers on the bank and feeling a bittersweet peace wash over her. The river spirits grant Amani a blessing, allowing her to feel Juma's presence as a comforting memory. She smiles, realizing that part of him will always be with her. Amani continues her life in the village, taking on the role of a healer. She feels a connection to the spirits and often visits the river to honor the balance she helped restore. The villagers start an annual ceremony by the river, honoring those who have passed and the spirits who protect them. Amani leads the ceremony. Amani learns how to commune with spirits without fear, finding solace in their presence and the wisdom they offer. Amani tells her story to the next generation, passing down the legend of the river and the sacrifice that protects their village. Through her work, Amani feels that Juma's spirit is guiding her, helping her heal others and maintain the peace he helped create. Amani meets a young girl with a similar curiosity about the river. She feels a kindred spirit and begins mentoring the girl, hoping to pass on her knowledge. Reflecting on her journey, Amani realizes that love, sacrifice, and courage have given her life new meaning, and she feels a deep sense of fulfillment. During a village festival, Amani leads a ceremony honoring their ancestors and spirits, celebrating the legacy of love and sacrifice that binds them all. Amani has one last dream of the underworld, where she sees Juma, now at peace. He thanks her, and she wakes with a feeling of closure. Amani spends the rest of her life helping the village, her legacy one of resilience and harmony. The story ends with her watching over the river, content and at peace.